Actually, no more connection issues. So restarting several things, it should hopefully be up and running. It's waiting. And we are back. At least we're getting to see 3 minutes of qualifying. Mick Cliff dominating with a 136.2, followed by Corby also in the 136s, and Rooney has joined the session, so we're going to have a full 16 cars starting the race. I'm pretty sure we've got the connection issues sorted. Quite disturbing having someone sitting next to the Wi-Fi modem and then moving away, it stops the connection, so it's quite concerning that you can absorb that much Wi-Fi signal. So Corby 0.392 off of Mick Cliff's pace, and remember Mick does do this from the controller as well, and then trying to get these things around is a mission as it is, let alone doing it from the controller. DK Rush doing very well for Vazmak Boys Team 2, and same for Sami, his teammate, currently 4th quickest time around. So Mercedes are doing very well up the front end. It was mostly Sierra's last week. Mercedes may be the go for Donington Park. We'll make our way down through the rest of the list. So Philly Minelli and his teammate following closely behind there. So it's pretty good seeing teammates pretty much following the suit for each other. We're getting very broad. Lock that wheel up coming into the corner. And the Lone Wolf Demon Effects, the single cylinder racing, doing well in the Mercedes still. We did see some, for what we did see, should I say, in the practice before it all started glitching out. We have Demon Effects was doing some pretty solid pace. I didn't get a chance to actually look at how they all finished at the end of the practice session while I was trying to sort out all these connection issues. And we have T-Rex, who is filling in for Simo Simzel. And Simo's out for a couple of weeks. He's jumped in to team up with Gallant. And then he did mention that it was only the second time he ever drove these cars was last week. So he's doing incredibly well to not have done much practice in these cars. And they are a big handful to try and get around the track, especially for the tricky track that Donington Park is. Drivers will be glad they don't have 30 laps to contend with, as we did for Silverstone. And then we have the qualifying complete. Ready to get a time on the board. Oh, D-Train getting a little bit slippery. But it's going to be cooler track conditions as well. Game session time started 10 AM. The weather is heavy cloud. And then the sprint race will be 11 AM. And the weather conditions will progress into overcast. It'll be slightly cool for the race. I think 2 drivers to get the 136s in. Corby, a little bit of lag showing for him. I think Sami has finished up. So Rooney's come through, just getting a time in before the session finishes. There's a minute left to get the final laps done. Rooney comes in with 7th quickest time, a 138.129. D-Train with piston brake, him and Steph. He's going to go off for another variant and have some fun in the car before the start of the race. And there's Simo. They're cheering on his team. Simo, we've got T-Rex filling in for you while you're out for a couple of weeks. I was having lots of fun down pit straight. Then we have qualifying for session 1. We have Mick Cliff taking pole position, followed by Corby. DK, Sami, Gallen, Philly, Rooney, Wera, Demon, T-Rex, Mr. D-Train, Coco Dog, Spray and Pray, Blakai, Warrior, Steph, and Doggy Daddy. So a full 16 cars starting the race. We were 1 or 2 short last week as we had a few away. So it's good to see a full grid. So heading over to pit straight now as we get ready to start the race. Well, it's only back to 15 cars again. Someone must have just disconnected as it loaded over. Not sure who it is that we may have lost. Driver's got a couple of minutes to get their setups ready for the race. It is fully custom setups. So the drivers have full control over the customization for the car. As you can see, those cars dip down. That's them swapping out their setting load ups. Pick who it is that we may have lost from the session. Now hit ready, so we're getting ready to have the lights go green. Oh, we've just had Corby really nudge forward. Lucky he had those brakes on tight. He's going to get away for a very quick launch. No, it's a bit delayed. Hopefully it wasn't a jump start for him. Mick gets away pretty quickly. We can see Mercedes ducking up around the right-hand side. I think that's Gallen getting to get into a good position for turn 1. Up alongside of Corby, so Gallen's now taken into third position. Oh, that's one of the dodgy boys that's gone for a spin. I think it may be Coco Dog. No, is it Doggy Daddy? Doggy Daddy's spun out in turn 1. We now have DK Rush move up into position 2 and gets very wide out onto that corner, dropping that tyre if it was quite risky. These things tend to start getting into a big slide once you drop a tyre off. And DK gets a good run on through the corner, sitting real tight up on Mick. He's going to have to do some defensive stuff. Gallen's dropped a couple of positions. Sami's now moved up. Simo, yes, he'll still look after your car. Corby's moved back up into position 2. DK now in third position, followed by teammate Sami in position 4. Looks like a pretty tidy start to the race as we almost get to the end of lap 1. Sami showing a bit more pace than his teammate as he came through the final corner. Look at Corby going for that very wide line, going out into the pit exit to take that first corner, so trying to carry a lot more speed. You see the drivers using the full length of that track, going very wide out into the dirt before turning in. Some very different lines between these two. Corby's choice of lines showing a lot more speed than what Mick was managing, so it's allowed him to get a very nice pass around and then start leading by 0.4. Mick may be able to sit there and gauge his lines now and see if he can follow suit. A bit of spacing going on between the midfield. We have Wera and Rooney. Oh, Wera's getting up for a position alongside of Gallen. Mercedes battling it out. A little bit of lag showing for Gallen as well, if he doesn't suffer a disconnect. Where darts out and around, Dominic gets up into a position, not quite far enough in to own the track position. That's cost him a bit of time. Look at Rooney get out to go for a pass around the two of them. Right up over that curb. Two different lines by these two. Rooney seeming to have a lot more pace in the forward, getting away through the corner exit. It's our race leader, Corby, now leading by 1 second. See how wide he goes out compared to everyone else there. He really uses that full length to be able to turn in a lot later. Carry a lot more speed into the corner, so he's really pulling away. So that's gotten a big lead over Mick. Sami is in third position. He's starting to close in on Mick. The two Sierras leading out in front. Have a look at this battle going on for position 6. Now spaced out a little bit more. Rooney's dropped back a little bit. Got Spray and Pray also closing in on T-Rex. And that gap between Sami and Mick is slowly coming in. And Gallen has dropped back down to 9th position now. Sure what's going on in that battle, wherever he may have had some contact or if he'd made an error. He's currently behind Coco Dog in the BMW. I think that's the leading BMW. And I think I recognise who we have lost. I think it is D-Train that we have lost. I can't see MRD on the screen. Def's teammate has disconnected in between the qualifying screen through to the race. Unfortunate for D-Train. Yeah, it probably would have been the easiest way to bring it up. Shows he left the session. There wasn't a disconnect, so I'm not sure what was going on there. We have Mick still hanging on to that gap between him and Corby. Still teetering around the 1 second mark. Corby really dominating in the first sector, so I think turn 1 is where he's getting a lot more speed than everyone else. So we have Rooney has now moved up into 4th position. Be back for the next race. We have Philly Manilli moving in up on Rooney. Both Wira and Gallen, so there was that battle between Wira, Gallen and Rooney. Maybe some contact was made between Wira and Gallen, causing them to drop back. Jump on board. Well, that's not quite the one that he can set. Very wide line that he takes so he can carry this corner very quickly. And you can see that gap. It's almost an extra half a second quicker by taking that very wide line coming into turn 1. However, Mick gets a little bit slippery in that tail as he comes around. Mick does start to close that half second gap in throughout the remaining 2 sectors. Demon Effect starting to close in on Coco Dog. You can hear that BMW screaming up ahead. Pray and Pray also starting to catch up to T-Rex. Some strange times that Spray and Pray is actually closer than what T-Rex currently is. That's a little bit odd. Black Eye Warrior battling it out amongst these guys. He's got DK Rush looking to get around. DK up towards the front at the start of the race. So we're just about reaching the halfway point. He's going to be looking to climb back up through those rungs. Gals just copped a slowdown penalty. Demon really closing in on Coco Dog, so he's got that down to 0.4 of a second between him. A lot more speed for the Mercedes coming down into the hairpin. See that slide out there. He's going to be getting up for a nice pass for the last corner. Not enough to get in front though. Did lose out that speed, so they're starting to go much wider lines as well. Starting to do what Corby is doing. Race leader Corby now leading by 2.6 seconds. Not being able to rein in that gap. Starting to pull away, but he's still keeping some very strong pace. We have Sami still sitting around the same gap. Oh, a little bit of lag showing for Sami. Corby's made an error, so he's now lost that 2-second lead. Mick's now being able to close in on him. He's going to have to pull away pretty quickly. He's just gone past the halfway mark now. So it's lap 6 of 11. Oh, looks like he's gone out too wide. Got a little bit slippery. Mick darts over to the other side pretty quickly, trying to break that stream from Sami. Jolt showing for Sami around on the track. It seems a little bit sharp on those track positions, so it could potentially be some lag issues for him. He's doing very well in that Mercedes. It's closing that gap in very quickly on Mick. The Sierra tends to get away from out of the corners a lot quicker than the Mercedes. Still looking to try and get a little bit slippery. He's just managed to control it. Going to cost him some time, but it was a very good save. That could have gone quite badly. We're battling it out with Lakai Warrior. Lakai debuted with us last week. It was involved in a couple of incidents. Caused some significant damage to his car and others as well. He's having a better run this time around. Ooh, just brings that back in. Nearly sliding out and then making the contact to the tail of Wira's car. Oh, and the Mick Cliff gets a little bit loose coming out of the corner for the last turn. It got very sketchy. It was very slippery. He got out quite sideways. But he managed to pull that back in. Did balk Sami a fair bit. He could have potentially been involved in an incident with that. It would have been risky to try and power around that with the potential risk of being clipped in that slide. They were pretty well closely positioned. There's been no room for error. Sami still looking to get around Mick Cliff. Oh, Mick's just dived off track. Gets back on the track safely. That's allowed Sami to get through, so there's only 2 laps to go now. Corby leading that race by 3 seconds, followed by Sami in position 2, having just got that position back from Mick going off track. We have Spray and Pray and DK Rush battling it out at the moment. Pray getting off track and then allowing DK to get through. Look at that slide in that Sierra coming down around that bend. These things are good little drift machines. We have Rooney starting to close in on Mick Cliff as well. A little bit slippery for Sami. This could go bad. He nearly dove in towards the pit entrance. Doesn't follow as wide a line as Corby. Got a few weird timings going up on the board. So we've got a few, or 2 drivers that have now got time second penalties. It's Broadca, Warrior and Gallant, both wearing a 1 second time penalty. It's not going to be too costly over the course of this race. Already drifts that down nicely, trying to close in on Mick Cliff. Bray not letting DK get away too quickly. Broadca Warrior towing in behind T-Rex, currently sitting in 11th position. His teammate Gallant has dropped back. I'm not sure if he's got damage. And we have Doggy Daddy in 14th position, followed by Steph in 15th. We've got some traffic coming up for the race leaders as well. Whose car that is. I think that may be Steph that is closing in. She's just slowed right up and let him through, which is very courtesy of her. Steph pulling right over and letting everyone through. Yes, Sami is closing in on Corby. That might be a little bit too late for a chance to have getting around. It's gotten out to 6 seconds. He did get caught up with a bit of traffic. That was Steph, I think, that just spun off ahead of Sami. And Sami's got Mick Cliff closing in that gap on Sami as well. And is the last lap to have a solid 6 second lead, 6.5 seconds now. Halfway through the lap. Corby's doing incredibly well. It's going to be good for his team as well. Hit your marks. And some strong points being added to the board for the team championship. And finishing up ahead of Rooney will be in a good position for Corby with the drivers championship. So he's only 20 points behind Rooney. Corby would be coming onto the final corner now. Got one more hairpin to go and then he will be taking victory for race 1 in round 2. He's coming up to Doggy Daddy there at the moment. There he goes, around, crosses the line. Well done, top of the podium for Corby. Followed by Sami in P2. Mick Cliff not too far behind in position 3. Rooney was closing in nicely as well for taking fourth. Didn't notice that as normal. He must have made a mistake then if he did close into a second. And there is Philly taking fifth position. DK crosses the line in sixth. Oh, a little bit of chaos going in the back there for Spray and Pray. Coco crosses the line in seventh, followed by Wira and Demon Effects. Spray's got a little bit of time. And he took a fair bit of damage. He dove straight into that wall on the final corner. So there's 40 seconds left to get these last laps done. T-Rex showing a heap of damage to that car. That front end of the Mercedes is crushed up pretty good. Crosses the line in 11th position. Kai in 12th. And then we have conclusion for race 1 of round 2. We have Corby top of the podium taking P1, and I think it's the quickest lap potentially as well, a 1:36.798. Yes, he's taken the quickest lap as well, so well done to Corby. And then also on the podium is Sami in 2 and Mick Cliff in 3rd, so well done to those three on fantastic race. And then the rest of the grid we have in 4th is Rooney, followed by Philly, DK, Coco, Wira, Demon, Spray and Pray, T-Rex, Lakai Warrior, Doggy Daddy, Gallants and Steph. And of course we had D-Train disconnect out in the session, so hopefully we'll see him back with no issues coming into race 2. So we'll be heading up for a short break, and then we'll be back for session 2. We've got 15 minutes of qualifying and then 22 laps for the main race, and it is a mandatory pit, so it'll be some exciting action to see there. So stay tuned, we will be back very shortly. And welcome back for session 2. We just saw Corby take victory in the first race, and we're heading over into 15 minutes of qualifying. Weather will be overcast. Of course, we're in the UK for Donington Park GP. We didn't get to it before, but the track length is 4.02 kilometres, and there are 12 turns in this variant of the track. So quite slippery in a lot of those corners, and we saw some very different lines being taken in those corners, especially turn 1 with Corby getting very wide out into the pit exit lane before turning in. So it's interesting to see if we see any of the others adopt the same line and see if they can pull some big speed, as Corby was doing some very good laps. And scrambles out quickly onto the track. We'll get to see the full amount of qualifying like in session 1 with all the connection issues. If you are new to the stream and out where we do have some, I'm not sure if it works on all platforms on what you're viewing it on, but we do have some sound effects controls down underneath the stream, so you can play a variety of fun sound effects. They are all free. There are some that do cost a few bits for some of the more fancier ones, but you can cheer, applaud, boo, and have some other fun sounds to accommodate anything that's going on through the course of the race. Have some fun with those effects. Be sure to jump in the chat, say hello, let us know who you think is going to take pole position, who's going to take the win. We see Mick Cliff come through with another pole setting time. He was doing some fantastic pace in that Sierra in session 1. Still did very well, finishing on the podium. We got 16 cars back out on track. We had D-Train have some sort of connection issue in between the end of qualifying and then to the start of the race, having dropped out. Hopefully we don't see him miss out on race 2 tonight. Those bollards being taken out in the turn 1-2 section. Sorry, that's not it. That's halfway through. I've got myself mixed up with what section of the track we're looking at. There we go, dog, in the BMW. We'll jump on board for a lap around. We missed out on that while sorting out all the technical issues at the start. It's quite disappointing. We haven't had a barrage of connection issues like that for quite some time. We'll jump on board with someone who is coming close up to starting a lap. DK will be the one. Aboard the Mercedes with DK. That's Doggy Daddy or Coco Dog just ahead of him. Moves over and backs off and lets him through. See just how off camber a lot of these corners are, which is why it gets very slippery in these very torquey machines. Very fast sector, sector 2. Still quite technical. Play very cautiously with that corner and follow here with the very sharp right hand bend. And it widens out on the back straight. Not sure if that's Steph, I think that's Steph, but he's just getting around. Now this is where we've seen the bollards taken out in a little chicane. This just has cost him as well. He hasn't taken any damage, but avoided his lap, and also actually hasn't validated. I'm not getting that on the race feed, but he's having a few shifting issues at the moment as well. definite gearing issues going on for DK. Very tricky hairpin, followed by another hairpin coming up for the final corner. It does slope down and off cambered. So we've seen a fair bit of slip coming on as they exit out of that corner. That's a lap around Donington Park GP. Thank you for DK. And probably the commentator curse causing him to have those issues going off track as well. We usually tend to see drivers bin it when we cross over to an on-board view with them. We've had some pretty good luck lately. Well, usually they choose to bring the car back into the pits as soon as we cross over to them. Warriors coming through for the second quickest time. It's a 1:38. We saw a couple of 1:36s. That was Corby and Mick Cliff in session 1. Warriors brought that in. And you will notice at the bottom of the screen as well our social media links. There is our Facebook page for all our results, standings and incident reports. They all get posted to there after the replays are being reviewed. You don't need a Facebook account to actually check those out. You can see Gallen choosing to go for that much wider line as well. Not sure who that is, that's just gone off of that spray. No, that was Corby, that was off track. He may have gone off a little bit too wide coming down to that corner. He's had his lap invalidated, but he's still got that pole time. So you don't need an account to actually check it out. You can actually see it all publicly using a browser. You don't need an app. So be sure to check those out to be able to see the results and standings come through. See how your favourite driver is faring in the championship. We've got D-Train currently in with the 6th quickest time. Oh no, he's just been bumped down. Well, several have. Rooney's come through with a pole time. That's a 1:36.119. That's pretty close to Corby's time, only 0.021. You can see that tail just spooling out as he puts the foot down. Sierra's drifting all the way through. That's spectacular driving there for Rooney. He's just sliding it through each one of those bends. Not sure who there. I think that was Blackeye. That wasn't Blackeye, but he's going off track at the moment anyway. Feeling a little bit off pace at the moment. He's probably coming on for a quicker lap this time around. A little bit slippery on that exit. Doesn't improve. Well, he does improve that time. Improves it by 2 seconds. Gallen up in with the 4th quickest time. It's 2 seconds off of Rooney. Mick Cliff come through with 1:36. The 1:37.2. He gets up into 3rd. Dobby's just gone off track. Oh, very broad. He's struggling to get that thing back under control. Having some fun doing it though. E-Rex filling in for Simo. With COVID Racing teamed up with Gallen. And also for our links down below, you will notice our bit.ly link that is to our YouTube channel. So you can get back into there and see all our past broadcasts. So you can go back and check our previous series and see our drivers racing a variety of different cars. Not sure if that's Corby. That's not Corby. Bleeding through, I think it was Spray. Spray allowing Weir on through. Let's jump on squad with one of these Fords while they are drifting around. Watch Rooney come through. Down through the weavy sections where he just drifts this thing right out. He's taking that wide line, as does Corby. Pulls that out. Lovely drift. This is where we see him weave all the way down. Turns in very early. He gets that tail sliding out. Carries at mid-corner speed with the early turn in. Out wide, hits that brake quite heavy, waits till that tail slides out and then turns in. Flat footing it out of the corner. Brilliant car control here by Rooney. Rev limiter using engine braking. This is going to be a quicker time. He could potentially break a 1:35. Oh, a little bit slippery coming out of that. That's going to cost him some time. Corby's just stolen away pole position. He's come through for 1:36.050. Slip too much on the exit. Will he better that time? No, 0.023 off of that time. It was very close. We have DK also move up into third. He's just under a second from pole time. Oh, it's just got a little bit loose as he comes out of that. DK followed by his teammate Sami, currently in fourth position. Be good for Vazak Boys team too. Oh, takes out that sign on the way through, cutting the corner. He's brought that in. That would have been not a very good lap for him to do. He's got enough time to get that back out and actually get around for one more hot lap. There's 2 minutes 50 remaining of qualifying. Oh, we're not sure what happened there. We really bit in and steered off quite sharply to the left. We're having some issues with the car. Not sure where he's on the track there. Yes, Jeffrey's Corby is on fire. He's got some phenomenal speed around Donington. It'd be great if we can see a 1:35 be broken. Look at that slide. It's beautiful drifting in these things. These areas can really be snapped around a lot more than the Mercedes and the BMW. Oh, a little bit too much coming into that one. It did look good though. It was a lot of speed. Really trying to get some temp into those tyres, ready for another solid lap. This is on approach to the final corner. So look out for Rooney this lap. He's got his eyes set on stealing away pole position on this final lap. Oh, a little bit of lag showing for him. He wasn't happy with that. That's definitely cost him. There's yellow flag being shown as well. Someone's gone off. That's down in turn 1. So far we've got 10 seconds separating the grid. Hey Dirty, thanks for joining us, mate. And he's still out on track, having some fun with that car. It's definitely not going to be a pole time, I don't think. Qualifying is complete. It might be a little bit of lag too. So he's just skated back on track after showing being off track. Mick managed to get back in with a 136. It took him the whole session to get it, but he did do it. We saw him with a 136, taking pole position for race 1. Nearly costing DK through those corners. Yeah, it did just invalidate his time, so he's brought it in. That was costly. Gallen's probably going to hang around, do a burnout across the line, most likely. Allowing Demon to get through. Demon comes through with 8th quickest time. And then we have qualifying done for round 2. Getting ready to head into the final race for round 2. We have Corby starting from up the front, followed by Rooney, Mitcliffe, DK, Sami, Philly, Gallen, Demon, Wera, D-Train, Spray and Pray, T-Rex, Coco, Dog, Blakai, Doggy Daddy, and Steph. And we've got full 16. Hopefully no issues for D-Train as we cross over into the race ready screen. This is where he dropped out in session 1. No, we've got all 16 showing. Driver's got a couple of minutes just to get those setups ready. And also to add their pit strategies, as it will be crucial. They cannot afford mistakes. We've seen races lost all because of having to go back through and then tending to your pit stop again, as they usually didn't swap out tyres or did the wrong compound or didn't put fuel in and the likes. Oh, there you go, Jeffrey. So going for quaddies now. It's getting pretty full on. We'll have bookies hanging around soon, looking to take some picks. The BMW is not doing too strongly around Donington tonight. Got 3 Sierras up front. Then it looks like we've got about 6 or 7 Mercedes, and then we've got another. Then we've got the BMW. Then we've got Spray down in the Sierra. Then the rest of the field, I think, is BMW. The Mercedes, I think Blakai is in Mercedes. Doggy is also in the BMW, as well as Steph. There we are, the drivers have all hit ready. So we'll get the lights countdown to the start of race 2. Rooney nudges forward ever so slightly, same as Corby. Both of them get away to a blisteringly quick start. Ooh, a little bit of a bad shift for Rooney. Gets ahead of Corby. Corby missing that gear. It sounded like a bit of a clutch issue going on. And then DK positioned himself very wide. Oh, I think that may be Philly that's just ran off wide in turn 1. Dropped down into 15th, 16th. I don't think there's been any incident in it. He's just ran off wide. Probably couldn't see the line as it was pretty hectic with cars. I think it was nearly 3 wide in some spots there. Rooney gets away very quickly. Sami closing in on Corby. We saw him closing in on Corby around in race 1. We didn't get to see Sami race last week. There's some work commitments missing out on the opening round. He needs a very good position to finish with. Make up for those missed points from last week. Sami did just win the V8 Supercars Championship as well, that finished up a couple of weeks ago. He's probably would love to see another opportunity to get a second belt title under his belt. Yeah, just from the different engine sizes, dirty, which we didn't do. They had a fair bit of top speed difference, and then their control also, so they had some big advantages to the rest of the cars having the Nissan and the Audi. So we're already noticing a fair bit of difference between the handling in these cars as it is between Mercedes, BMW and Ford. We have Corby trying to close in on Rooney. Rooney did pull away pretty quickly, but that gap's starting to close in. Corby shaved off at about 0.2 through that sector. Mackay Warriors has copped the time second penalty. We have Wera DK and Mick all closing in pretty tight. They'll be battling it out for fourth position very shortly. Mick's not too far behind Sami as well. Very different lines being taken in the second last hairpin. And there is Corby. Really closing in on Rooney. Both taking that very wide line. I think that line is really what's getting them that extra speed coming down through the rest of Sector 1. Gives them a very solid advantage. You can see them just pull away from Sami, where they are at least within sight in the corner ahead, where then after they get through turn 1, they have disappeared. DK not too far behind his teammate. Mick is sitting in between them. Very quickly closing in on DK. DK runs a little bit wide, that's cost him a position. Doesn't take any damage, just goes out into the dirt and back on track. Drivers have to play caution there. There'll be a few marbles spread out on track where he's re-entered. Demon Effects closing in on D-Train's BMW. Seem to be able to carry a lot more speed down into the chicanes than the BMW. He's looked to position himself along the inside for the hairpin. It may pay off, as could potentially be a switch back for that BMW. D-Train still gets out in front of him just. Keeping an eye on that gap between Corby and Rooney. Still closing in is not enough to get around yet. And seeing all drivers choosing to take that very much wider line, realising they can carry a lot more speed down through turn 1. And Demon get around this BMW. D-Train's holding him at bay pretty well. Goes off wide, costing him some time. Oh, there's been a bit of incident. I'm not sure who that is that's gone off track. There's a couple in the pits. I think it may have been Wira and DK. Taking some damage. They're probably going to be heading into the pits unless that car isn't handling too bad. Colby did get around Rooney. Looks like a mistake made by Rooney. Tossing that position up and giving it to Corby. He's now out ahead by 1 second. A bit too much speed coming through there. He had to really back off. Excessively wide there. It's phenomenal how wide he goes. It really works. He puts away that gap on Rooney. Look how far he's gotten ahead. He's pulled away by about 0.3 of a second just by taking that line. Demon Effects now looking to get up and around Spray and Pray. He did drop back a little bit in trying to avoid that incident. The D-Train safe for now from Demon Effects, but he does have Spray and Pray closing in pretty quickly. There's about 0.4 of a second difference between the two. And the BMW hold off the Ford. Make our way down through the rest of the list. How everyone's going. We have Sami currently in third. We are on lap 5 of 22. We're currently in 4th position. And we have Gallant. Oh, and that's Spray. It's just gone for a slide. He's going to make some wall contact as well. That was down through the chicane. Back on track quickly and before any other traffic comes. And he had 5 seconds more before Philly was catching up. Unfortunate for Spray. We have Demon Effects currently in 7th position. Spray in 8th. Philly closing in 9th position. That car really bogged down through the hairpin. Kakadog in the BMW, currently in 10th position. P-Rex has taken quite a hit. Actually, I'm looking on the broadcast and he's showing us no damage. However, I'm seeing a fully buckled front end, so it's probably visual damage caused by lag. It's also the same for DK. He doesn't look as damaged in the broadcast screen. We have Rooney closing in again on Corby. Oh, a little bit too short in that corner. That's cost him a lot of time. That distance is now pulled away between him and Corby. And we have, so he doesn't go out quite as wide as Corby. There's a bit of traffic coming up. Race leaders needing to get around. I think that's Black Eye Warrior that they've just passed. And he lets them through nicely. Black Eye is currently wearing a 1 second time penalty, same as Philly. He's also got a 1 second time penalty. To drift knifing through that corner. Demon's now caught back up to D-Train again. Took a couple of laps to get back up to where he was. BMW taking a much wider line. That cost him some speed. He was almost going to nudge him then. He had to back off the throttle and reposition himself on the track. That's just cost him badly too. Drop that tyre off as he goes around. It's going to probably allow Gallen to move up position as well. Demon re-enters back into 7th position. We have Spray and Pray and Philly both closing in on Demon now. After making that mistake, Philly goes a little bit too wide. That's when you've dropped that tyre off and you're on full throttle. These things will just bite in and spin out. They don't allow for much error. They will just snap in and throw the car off track. Rooney still teetering around that 0.8 to 1 second mark. But Rooney last lap around a little bit quicker than what Corby was. Corby set at 1:37.6 and Rooney set at 1:37.440. Marginally quicker. Quickest lap out there was Rooney's lap. If he can stay focusing and plug at that, he could potentially have a go at getting around Corby in the next few laps. We've got Gallen just behind Demon, so Demon has gotten back up around. And that's the same corner where we saw Demon slip out before. The same corner gets him again. Enters back on track. Billy and Spray both get out in front of him. Billy had managed to get around Spray and Pray on that lap as well. Demon having a lot of bad luck with that corner and not seeming able to get that Mercedes through and found it sliding. Not sure if there's a setup issue going on for him. Perhaps that heavier load of fuel not quite heading the way it should be for him. Around through Spray having some issues with the car. So Demon's going into the pits. Not sure. Using one of those tyres may have been a little bit slippery for him. The lap 9 of 22. Rooney's still closing that gap in. He is much quicker that time. He was 0.7 quicker compared to Corby's last lap. But he has lost it out a bit on this current lap. This mistake happens with Corby. Yeah, DK's car carrying a lot less fuel than what these guys are doing. Corby drops a lot of speed in the final corner. Going to allow Rooney to really close in going down pit straight. Going to have to follow that exact same line that Corby's doing, so that's where he pulls away. Carries that same speed. He's just shaved off 0.4 on that lap. Corby could be in some trouble here on this lap. Rooney, sorry. Ruby. But we'll be looking to get around him very shortly. Not sure what their pit strategy may be as well. Could choose to head into the pits rather than battle it out. Get the pit out of the way, then come back on track and then just pick away at it. They got a fair bit of time, our race leaders. Sami's currently 20.5 seconds behind these guys, so they got a pretty good safety net between them. Rooney's lost that gap now. They're very similar last lap at 1:37.078 and 1:37.064. Towards the back we have Broadca closing in on Steph. A bit slippery in that second last hairpin. Very tight line for Rooney. It's right up over that curb. Colby once again pulling away very quickly in that first part of Sector 1. Really got that section of the track down pat. We have Philly looking to close in on D-Train. He was anyway. Well, that spray having some issues down the back. Got a little bit slippery on corner exit for the final hairpin. And Broadca has just gotten around Steph. Oh, who's that? That's just off track. I think that may have been DK. Car's looking a lot worse for wear in my screen than what you guys are seeing. Yeah, Philly. About half a second between him and D-Train. D-Train doing very well for the BMWs. BMW in the top 5 currently. And Sami doing it for the Mercedes. Otherwise it's a 1-2-3 for the Ford Sierras. Colby has gone into the pits now. Rooney takes the race lead. Gonna have to try and get in as many very quick laps now as you can. A little bit off pace that last time around, a 1:38.5 compared to his last couple of laps. It's about a second slower. That car could probably be a little bit slippery as we've gone past race length compared to the sprint race. If they're still running some soft tyres and counting on having to do a tyre change, it's going to be fairly slippery out there, and I think that's the case for Rooney. So probably staying out, costing him some precious time and having some issues trying to get back on track. It's going to allow Corby to dominate a very strong lead by the time Rooney heads into the pits. Rooney's only just got it back on track. He's only 11 seconds ahead of Corby. Oh, Corby costing him some time. Can he get back on quickly? Yes, he does. He's back out there with cold tyres. Or he could have even potentially had a pit stop problem where Eddie may not have swapped out his tyres for him. Nick Cliff closing in on Sami. Much tighter line through the chicane by Mick. These guys will need to pit. Yes, Rooney is now into the pits. Should have probably followed Corby. Mick was feathering that throttle through that corner. Probably finding it a little bit slippery as well. Sami up in position 2 now. leading the race by 4.7 seconds. He has served his mandatory pit. Sami and Mick will need to head into the pits. That's going to have him in a very strong position from that spill that Rooney had. Rooney needs to make his way back up through the rest of the field. They will need to pit as well. It's likely they'll probably pit in the next few laps or so. Pretty cautious, these guys may be a little bit slippery. It's a very good run in from that corner. Lovely pass by Rooney. Has that BMW in his sights. Gallen now heading into the pits. Rooney will make some contact. That's going to cost him. Didn't cause incident. They could have potentially been bad for the two of them. Doesn't lose out another position. Have to have another go to get around. And both peel off into the pits as well. Maybe a risky move not required. Now have D-Train, Mickliffe, Philly and Spray all in the pits, as well as Gallen. Mick's finished, Gallen's finished. Spray's also on his way out. Now, race leader is Corby. He's 5 seconds ahead of Sami, who will need to pit yet. Pitting rather late, so he's probably decided to go for a set of hards. Not seeming to be too slippery compared to the rest of them that we saw over the last few laps that were still sort of staying out on track. Oh no, and Philly gets a little bit slippery, nearly swerves back into DK 2 times. That was very lucky. He's got another 4 seconds before T-Rex comes. Can he get back out on track in time to save another position? He's out on grass still. Staying off track, allowing these guys through. His teammate Wira just gets in front of him as well. T-Rex moves up into 10th position. We have DK closing in on Spray and Pray. Car seemed to be quite a bit too talky through the corners for Spray. Sounds like it's really wanting to slip out. We've seen him really spool up on the corner exits a fair few times. So that setup probably not suiting his style so much at the moment. Bad luck going on for Spray. Hopefully he can get that car sorted out for himself. We have Sami currently in second position. Definitely lose out a position once he heads off into the pits. Rooney will move back up into P2. Coco Dog up in fourth position. I'm not sure if he has actually pit or not. I cannot remember seeing him head in. Be nice if the timings board showed whether they have pit or not, like it does at the results screen. He has already pit. He's in a pretty good position. Doing well with the BMW up in fourth position. Oh, here he is heading into the pits now. So that'll see Mick Cliff, D-Train and Demon all get around and spray by the looks of things. Not sure if he's been in and done his mandatory pit yet. Fair bit of traffic down that back end. That's not who I was wanting Demon. Gets around Sami. Looks like Sami made an error. Probably going to end up bringing that car into the pits. It's probably well due for some rubber at this point in the race. It's lap 16 of 22. They got 6 laps to go. So Coca Dog's back out on track. However, he's not too far behind DK. Rennie just made an error on the final corner. That's allowed Sami to get back up into position 2. Doesn't look like he's taken damage. Looks like he just ran off track. A little bit wide on approach. Not sure if there's some handling problems going on for Rooney. Could potentially have taken some damage. To Demon, who's to get around D-Train. I think that was a sign off in the background that just went off for a slide too. So we've got Spray looking to go for a blocking move for Coco Dog. Also looking to find a way around DK. There's a fair bit of debris on track there. Seeing a fair few marbles glistening. Ooh, very nice line. Oh, he's gotten blocked by DK. He did go for a move pass. He's free of battling it out pretty well. They're going to swap around again. DK looking to get past Spray. Very inside line, tucks back in behind Spray, swings out wide onto the curb. He's going to be ready for the next left turn. He doesn't get in far enough up. Over those curves for the chicane. Train Prey pulls away a lot quicker, finding a much quicker line through the chicanes. Cackles as they engine brake for the hairpin. Got a few battles going on at the moment. Demon Effects now closed in on D-Train, looking to take 5th position. No, not now. Oh, I think that may be lag. Not sure if that's him actually trying to get control again. Sami hanging on to Rooney. So maybe that Sami has actually pit. Car seems to be handling very well. Did cost him a lot of time from that little mistake. Rooney's pulled away by a few seconds now. D-Train now not having Demon sitting on his tail. Started to focus in on Mick Cliff. No, there goes Sami. He's now pulling into the pits. But he had not pit. Would have paid to go in a couple of laps before. Maybe was battling with that car a little bit too much. Oh, a disconnect just happened as well. Where is disconnected? It's going to be costly. A disconnect will classes did not finish points, so no points for Vasmac Boys Team 1 for Wirra. And it is the main race. That's where the big points have come through for them. We've got all sorts of weird times showing up now. Did say that D-Train was 2 minutes behind Mick Cliff just for a brief moment. That's not the case. He's only a few seconds behind. Well, the BMW take a very quick line coming down. He broke a lot later than that Sierra. With a body roll, and that was quite nice. He had a very tidy line. Can't recall from memory last week with the BMWs just how they positioned in the main race. Scan my eyes down quickly. It was Coco Dog in position 8 with the BMWs. We've got BMW in 5th position and 8th. And Mercedes up in the top 3. We had Demon FX put the Mercedes on the podium for the main race. Oh, we've had another disconnect as well. Maybe a retirement. There's only 14 cars remaining. It's unfortunate because there's only 2 laps to go. I think it's lost Philly. He's probably retired out. It doesn't say it's left the session at all. He's retiring. We'll see some race points on the board if he's had to retire that car out from taking damage. It'd be unfortunate for Vasmac Boys. Suffer no points in the main race. Train really showing some huge mid-corner speed in this BMW. Mick's probably going to be in some trouble. We've also got Sami coming up from behind as well. He's not too far. They're going to be battling it out for the spot on the podium in the last 2 laps of the race. I think that's Blakai that's just moved over for them. Well done, Kai, letting those guys through. So we have Rooney currently in 2nd position, 11.5 seconds behind our race leader Corby. These two doing a phenomenal job in their car, these Ford Sierras around Donington. Look at these guys racing up pit straight. A lap 21 of 22. D-Train looking to go that very wide line, but I think that late swerve out to decide for that line did cost him speed in the end. He didn't position himself well enough in time. Need to slowly veer out towards that outside line. Does carry a lot more speed down through that back end of Sector 1 in comparison to Sami. D-Train gets up alongside of Mick Cliff. Could potentially see a BMW on the podium. And we'll cross over to our podium finishers as well for a brief interview at the end. So be sure if you got any questions to throw towards our top 3, be able to do so. Mick needs to hang on, and he's hang on Motorsport as well. He's got to hold off Sami just for one more lap. We've we've got our race leader Corby flying out ahead. He's now leading the race by 19 seconds. That's phenomenal. He's really putting down some big speed in these last few laps. D-Train comes on to the last lap in third position. Mick makes a mistake on the final corner. But then that did balk Sami. They both end up keeping that same gap. We have a battle going on here for position 7, I think that is. DK just up ahead of Coco Dog. And that is T-Rex, I think. Actually, it might be Lakai, actually. No, it might be T-Rex. Yes, it is. Coco's just gone off. Spray and pray in 9th at the moment. On the final lap, we've got Corby will be crossing the line very shortly. We've got Sami looking to take on Mick. He's still hanging on and holding him off. Well done, Corby. 2 wins for round 2. Give me some good points for Hitcher marks as well as the Drivers' Championship. One away from you, Quaddy. It was very close. Rooney skating that car over the finish. These three are still battling it out in the second last corners. Oh, a little bit of contact. That's just spun D-Train around. Chaos going in the second last corner. He redresses that position. That was beneficial for Mick. He does not get caught up in that. So that's Mick on the podium. Well done. 2 podiums. He's showing these guys how to do it on controller. And D-Train crosses in 4th position. Barmy dropping back into 6th after redressing that error. Got some slides going on back there. I'm not sure who that was. It might have been T-Rex or Gallant. We have DK 7th, Coco Dog in 8th, Spray and Pray crosses in 9th position, T-Rex in 10th. Lakai is kind of showing a fair bit of battle damage in position 11, followed by Gallant in 12th. Gallant having some bad luck with that car tonight. So there we have results for race 2. Corby a double win. And does he get the fastest lap as well? No, I think that is to Rooney. So 1:36.358. So just marginally ahead with 1:36.392 being the best lap for Corby. So Corby top of the podium taking that victory, followed by Rooney in P2 and Mick Cliff. Well done, congratulations on 2 podiums. So taking 3rd position, followed by D-Train, Demon, Sami, DK, Coco, Spray, T-Rex, Blackeye, Gullen, Doggy Daddy, Steph, and Philly Manili. So he did retire out on lap 18, and then of course the disconnect we saw from Wira, unfortunately. So I'll be sending through a invite to Corby, Rooney, and Mick in just a moment. So we'll about to have a quick discussion with those guys. So be sure to throw in any questions as we get them into the party. We'll see them join in just a moment. And Rooney's joined us. Congratulations on a good drive, Rooney.
Cheers, thank you.
There was some good exchanges between you and Corby for a while. He's were
Yeah.
showing some pretty solid pace, and you just got him on the fastest lap as well. So 1:36.358. He's
Awesome.
taking that very wide line, going out into that pit exit lane, coming into turn 1, and he's really pulling away very quickly compared to the rest of them.
Yeah, no, some good racing. I should have had Corby, but made a silly mistake, so...
Yeah, the extra lap when Corby did go off into the pits, so costing him a lot of time. And congrats, Corby, the party.
Hey mate, yeah, cheers.
It's a double win tonight.
Yeah, that was I think the first half of that race we were just banging 136s, 137s, and any little mistake, like I had a half turn, Rooney went just on the grass, and that's enough to go past, you know. So
Yeah.
it's and I elected to pit just to try and let my tyres cool after that. So. But it didn't take tyres, so by the end it was pretty slippery.
Yeah, we did see those lap times start to dwindle off to 140s in those last few laps, so that must have been getting pretty sketchy out on that rubber.
Yeah, because
absolutely.
When I seen you pit Corby, I thought you were going for tyres, so I thought I better change mine and get some tyres as well.
Yeah, because it's about the right distance, I guess, halfway.
Yeah, halfway. I thought I was getting tyres. So.
See, next week I will take tyres, and you never know.
And well done, Mick. 2 podiums, mate, on the controller as well, showing these guys how to do it.
Yeah, trying hard. It was pretty loose though.
Yeah, we saw some pretty good saves, and towards that back end it seemed like it was getting a little bit slippery for you, especially with D-Train and that all coming for you in those last couple of laps.
Yeah, I was just holding back the pace so I could try and save the tyres, and I went at D-Train on the last lap, and I got up beside him, but then him and Sammy got together. I don't know. I just went through for third.
Just escaped that, yeah, so it was pretty close.
Yeah.
Yep, congratulations, guys, and look forward
congrats,
to
Corby.
seeing
cheers, guys.
well next week as well.
Thanks for hosting again, JT.
Yeah,
No
cheers, JT.
There we have Corby, Rooney and Mick, our podium finishers for round 2. And of course, next week we have round 3, which once I bring up what is actually on, we will be doing Zhuhai International Circuit. So it's going to be pretty interesting seeing these things get around Zhuhai. It's going to be very technical and very fast, and potentially looking towards more BMWs probably having a better position around Zhuhai. So to just see how they go, and especially if we're getting some pretty good predictions for how they're going from Jeffries, he might be able to put up some odds of how they're going to do as we head off into the session. So if you haven't done so yet and you are new to our streams, don't forget to hit that follow button. We'll be live again next Thursday night, 7:30 PM, and I'll make sure no one's sitting right next to my modem to absorb any Wi-Fi and drop out the connections early on, so I won't have to spend a good half hour trying to sort out what was going on when it's just something as simple as that. And of course, we do have our iRacing series on Monday night at 7:30 PM, same times. We do 7:30 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time, so you will see the spec races forwards in those, so plenty of racing action by hitting that follow button. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you trackside next week.